Welcome to the Challenge 5 extension. In Challenge 5, we wrote a program to repeatedly read and display temperature values using a for loop. In the Challenge 5 extension, we will store the temperature values and the time of each reading into list variables for later analysis. Look at the Challenge 5 extension in the Digital Mood Ring by Challenges document. Note, storing temperature readings for later analysis is not required for the final Digital Mood Ring challenge. Let's create a new program named C5E for Challenge 5 extension. Press the Program key, right arrow to New, Create New, C, then Alpha to toggle out of Alpha mode, 5, then Alpha E. Press Enter. Let's add a clear home to prepare the display. Program, right arrow to Input Output, 8 for clear home. Press Enter. Now let's connect temperature sensor number 1 to input port 1 as in our previous program. Press Enter to complete the command. You have the option to type TO instead of using the Hub Settings menu. We will use two list variables to store our results. List variables are a set of values. On the TI-84, list variables are represented by values separated by commas and closed by braces, also known as curly brackets. The TI-84 has 6 predefined lists, L1 through L6. We will use L1 for time values and L2 for temperature values. Each list has an attribute called its length, or dimension. That is the number of elements in the list. We will have the program set L1 and L2 to known starting points of being empty lists with 0 elements. Known starting points for variables are helpful in avoiding inadvertent variable values from previous use of the calculator. We will make L1 an empty list with 0 elements by setting the value of its dimension to 0. Type 0, store, second list, right arrow to the Ops for Operations menu, then 3 for dimension. Then second, L1, right paren, press Enter. This command will store 0 to the dimension of L1, thus setting the number of its elements to 0. We will take the same steps to make L2 an empty list by setting its dimension to 0. We have now set the lists L1 and L2 to known starting points of lists with 0 elements. Let's set up a for loop to repeat the set of commands to read and display temperature values. As a reminder, here is the syntax of a for loop. Press Program, select For from the Control menu. We will use n as the counter variable. We will loop from 1 to 10. Now let's put in the pair of commands to read and get values from temperature sensor number 1 to variable T. program, hub, send read, temperature, number 1, temperature sensor number 1, then program, hub, then get, alpha T, press enter. Let's use a set of output commands to display the value of time in seconds for each cycle of the loop based on the loop counter variable n and the loop cycle time of approximately 0.5 seconds. We will precede the value with a label. Program, arrow to input output, then choose 6 output, 4, comma, 1, comma, to start on row 4 at the first character. Now let's enter the text string of the label. Alpha plus to open quotes, time, then equal is on the test menu, alpha 0 for space, close quote, right paren, press enter. Next, we will use an output command to clear any previous values that have been displayed to assure that leftover characters do not cause confusion. Then we will use another output command to display the results of a new calculation into the blank space. Let's enter the output command. 6, 4, 12 to start it on the 4th row at the 12th character after the label, alpha plus to open quotes, then 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, then close the quote, right paren, press enter. Now for the second output command of the pair. Program, output, 4, 12, comma. We will start the display of the calculation on the 4th row at the 12th character into the space that we just cleared. For the time calculation, alpha n times 0.5, right paren, press enter. This calculation will generate 0.5, which is 3 characters long, then 1, which is 1 character long, then 1.5, which is 3 characters long, and so on. The values will vary between 1 and 3 characters. The 4 blank spaces will give us an extra space in case we change our loop values to extend to values that require 4 characters. The time value is estimated by the number of times that the loop has run, along with the loop time of approximately 0.5 seconds, which is controlled by a wait command later in the loop. On row 5, we will use a pair of output commands to display the temperature value with a text string label of temperature in degrees C. This is exactly the same command that we used in the Challenge 5 program. The degree symbol is on the angle menu. Equal is on second test. Close the quotes, right paren, press enter. Now for the second output command of the pair. Program, five, 18 to start after the label. Then alpha t for the variable value to display. Press enter to complete the command. Now we will store the most recent time and temperature values to the ends of list 1 and list 2. You can store to specific positions in lists by using the list name followed by the position number enclosed in parentheses. In this case, we will store to the position defined by the current value of the for loop counter variable n. So the first time through the loop, we will store to the first position. The second time through the loop, we will store to the second position, and so on. Type the value for time, which is n times 0.5. This is the same calculation that we made earlier in our output command. Press the store key, then second L1, left paren, alpha n, right paren, press enter. This command will store the calculation of the value for time into the nth position of list 1. We will do a similar process to store the value of variable t to the nth position of list 2. Alpha t store. The value in t is the most recent value that we have read from the temperature sensor. Press the store key. Now second L2, left paren, alpha n, right paren, press enter. We will add a wait command that controls the cycle time of the loop. In this case, we will wait 0.5 seconds. Program, hub, number 4 wait, 0.5, press enter. Finally, let's close the loop with an end command. Program, choose 7N from the control menu, press enter. We now have a program that connects a temperature sensor and creates 2 empty lists to store values, then runs the loop 10 times. In each cycle of the loop, the temperature sensor will be read and the value will be stored to the list variable L2, and the time of the reading will be calculated and stored to the list variable L1. We will run the program and plot the data in the Challenge 5 extension Part 2 video.